In today's weather update video, we're going to be talking about a new severe weather threat building up in the northern to central plains happening, and we're going to be talking about our first hurricane in the Atlantic for this season's hurricane season. And this one could become our first major hurricane as well. Now, first, going to talk about our severe weather for today. So, for today, we do have a slight risk of severe weather for the northern plains and kind of Midwest area, southern half of Minnesota, eastern portions of South Dakota, a little bit of northern Iowa, and a lot of Wisconsin is going to be in that slight risk. And our biggest risk is going to be the wind risk, where in our pre-existing slight risk for severe weather chance for today, that's where our 15% wind risk is going to be. For the hail risk, it's much smaller, but the 5% chance is a much bigger area. But our 15% is mainly going to be around southeastern Minnesota and kind of western Wisconsin. But we do have a very big 5% chance. Honestly, kind of looks like a little fish with like over here, it's like eyes and mouth. So if you want to call it that way, that's what I'm going to call it. It's kind of a little 5% chance fish for today. We have a 2% tornado risk, again, for kind of southeastern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and a little bit of the UP of Michigan. Now, for what the HRRR model is going to be saying for kind of like the future cast, we do see that already around, 4 to 5 p.m., we are having the storms move through southeast Minnesota and Iowa. Now, the HRRR is a little on a delay, so this could be a little inaccurate because the last time it updated was around 7 hours ago, but this is an approximation, and as I was looking into the radar currently right now, this is around accurate. So I'm going to say that mostly of this stuff is accurate. However, some stuff here and there could be a little bit inaccurate. But as we kind of go into around 6 to 7 p.m. tonight, of course, Central Daylight Time, a lot of the Midwest over here, so, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois, we're going to be rocked with storms. As we kind of move in through the overnight, those storms will weaken. However, straight up in the very early morning hours, we could have a couple of strong thunderstorms again move through the Dakotas into Minnesota. As we kind of go throughout the morning, you can see that this storm will actually intensify, over Minneapolis, moving through Minneapolis into Wisconsin. As we kind of go throughout, this is going to be around, tomorrow morning, kind of late morning into afternoon. We could see that those storms are going to be moving through Minnesota, going to be moving through Wisconsin, through the UP of Michigan and Maine, Michigan. And then we are going to have those thunderstorms continue going through southern Minnesota and southern Wisconsin. And then those storms are going to kind of go through Illinois and Indiana, where they'll just kind of go away. But we could even see some more stormy action happening into Sunday. Now, for day 2, we do have a marginal risk of severe weather, a very large marginal risk. This will, affect around close to 20 million people. If I actually do click on it, it'll say 27.6 million people are going to be impacted by this. But you got to see that 363,000 miles, and that's miles squared. So this is going to be quite the large area for severe weather tomorrow. Now, I do think there is a good chance, at least for kind of like this section here, that we could see a slight risk being put there because this is a storm system that's going to be forming over the next couple of days. So I do think with a large marginal risk with this that we'll have some little slight risk kind of in the middle of it. Again, our big risk is going to be the wind risk, which is going to be a 5% throughout this whole area. Risk is basically going to be similar to the wind risk. However, it's not going to be affecting Michigan at this time. And then we even do have a 2% tornado risk for South Dakota over here. However, I do think there is a chance that that could potentially grow. Not very big, but I do think there is that chance that it could still grow. And then day 3, we do have... a marginal risk. Again, for the northern plains and a little bit of the Midwest region. And obviously, this is still in our areas over the past 2 days where we've been seeing that severe weather. So, of course, flooding is going to be our potential next problem that we could be facing. We do see that we do have a slight risk for flash flooding over here in southeast Minnesota, western Wisconsin, and a little bit of northern Iowa. We even do have a little bit down here towards the southern bit of Texas. The reason why we do is that we do have a potentially tropic developing happening here, but as of, an hour or two ago, they actually did take away that risk away. It's just a lot of tropical moisture coming off the Gulf moving into southern Texas, where we can see quite a bit of rainfall. And over here towards Tucson, Arizona, we are also under a slight risk as well. Even over here in the East Coast with Hurricane Aaron moving through, we do have that 5% chance for the East Coast. And again, some of that moisture could be moving through towards the East Coast. Even though it's not here yet, some of that moisture is moving through along the East Coast. That's where we could be seeing that 5% flooding risk. Day 2, still, our biggest areas could be over here where our severe threat is. So Minneapolis, Madison, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, even Green Bay could be seeing some stuff as well. We even do have a little tiny slight risk down here in New Mexico, but that's not going to be affecting much people at all. Day 3, still yet, we are going to have another slight risk over here for kind of southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Now, over the next 2 days, a lot of us over here in the Pacific Northwest, where we've been seeing a lot of moisture move through, could see swaths of 1 to 2 to even 3 inches possible. Typically, the higher elevations in this scenario are going to be having the most amount of precipitation. But over here, where we've been having that severe weather threat potentially for the next 3 days, large swaths again of 1 to 2, 3 to 4 inches possibly happening in Minnesota, the Dakotas, Wisconsin, and even the UP of Michigan. Now, down here in southern Texas, I know this can't reach far, but some swaths of 1 to 2 inches are possible, and even down here in the southeast too. Some areas could see up to, no rain. Some areas could see up to 2 to even 3 inches possible. And even over here off the Atlantic, some areas somehow could reach up to a foot of rain. And that's in the Atlantic. This is obviously going to be coming from all of our moisture that's going to be moving through, and especially because of Hurricane Aaron. Next up, we are going to be talking about our first hurricane of the season. Over here, we do have Hurricane Aaron moving through the Atlantic. It's moving around 20-25 miles an hour right now. And as you can see, that expectedly over the next week, this thing could become up to a Category 4 hurricane. There even could be a chance we're right in the middle of it. It could become nearly a Cat 5, but it could be expected to weaken as those waters are going to be turning a little bit colder, so it's not going to have as much fuel. Most models are predicting that this is going to be heading offshore of the U.S. However, especially we could see major waves still moving through the eastern seaboard of the U.S. Even this could even impact a little bit of Canada, so Nova Scotia could be seeing those impacts. Our biggest impacts for sure are going to be down here in the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, all the French islands, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Could be seeing quite the waves moving through here. And we do have hurricane warnings that are in effect throughout Puerto Rico. So those we will have big waves. You guys even over here could see a little bit of winds as well. But we could see that over, if we go back on the infrared camera, we could see that this thing definitely has been spinning, and it doesn't have quite the eye just yet, but you can see all this dark color that you can see right there. That's going to be where the eye is. It's not showing up the best on here, but over the next day or two, we will be seeing an eye on this hurricane. Now we're going to be talking about climate. So over the next 6 to 10 days, a lot of us in the West Coast, really not even just the West Coast, a lot of the western portion of the U.S., so even a little bit of, so really, I don't even know how to say this, but Mid-Atlantic, Great Lakes, and a little bit of Midwest will be near normal average. a little bit of the Northeast and New England are going to be below average. And then the rest of the country is going to be above average for temperatures. And then throughout the next 8 to 14 days, and hopefully this is actually going to be accurate, is that we're going to have starting to have cooler than average air kind of staying over the Midwest, Northern Plains, a little bit of Mid-Atlantic in Northeast, around the Great Lakes as well. And then a lot of us still over here in the western half of the country and even the southeast and the Great Plains could be still dealing with above than average temperatures. And then for precipitation over the next 6 to 10 days, half of us in the country are either going to be below average or above average. So even over here along the East Coast and a little bit the Southeast, above average. The plains, the Great Lakes, and the Ozarks could be a little bit below average. The Pacific Northwest could be a little bit more than below average. And then kind of over here in the Rockies, Southeast, and Northern Plains, we're going to be above average. And then within the next 8 to 14 days, there is still a little bit of uncertainty, but it's suggesting that still the Great Lakes, Midwest, and the Ozarks will be above or below average. And even over here down in southern Texas and a lot of the Rockies and Plains will be above average for precipitation. Otherwise, majority of us in the country by population will be near normal average for precipitation. And then last thing for this weather update video, we're going to be talking about the droughts. So we are still having quite the drought over here in the western part of the country. However, it's definitely helped out with that rain, especially over here in the northern plains. It's gone down, and even the central plains, it's gone down. Over here in the East Coast, however, especially around the Ozarks, some drought has been building up, and even over here and the Northeast, we've been having a lot of drought. At least some areas have been having some drought set in, and even over here in the Great Lakes, some drought has been setting in. So if we do see that rain continue to be moving through over here, then some of those droughts could stay controlled or even go away. But areas like the Southeast, though, we haven't been seeing a bit of rain, so this drought over here could be expected to be, growing. That's the end of today's weather video. So if you guys like to see another one, make sure you guys like and subscribe for more content, especially this upcoming first potentially major hurricane happening in the U.S. Make sure you guys subscribe to get those notifications immediately, and potentially share this with other people as well. We do want to become a weather channel that will help other people, especially talking about weather forecasting. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.